Hey, I'm Andrew Houston here with another tradie tip. And what I wanted to talk about today was this thing called bottlenecks. Let me ask you this question first of all, see if this is of interest to you. Let me ask you, how fast is your contracting business? How fast is your contracting business? The reason I ask that question is because so many times we're not going as fast as what we should, what we need to, and what we can. Okay? It's something called a bottlenecks. Too many times we get so many things on the go, so many things that we want to solve, and it becomes a bottleneck and it slows us down and prevents us from being the most productive, the most efficient, and that really limits our ability, it limits our capacity, it limits our ability to serve more and more clients. In a lot of cases, if we don't resolve these bottlenecks, we just end up having a more and more inefficient business. All right, so let's go slower. So we want to go fast, okay? But to get rid of these bottlenecks, we've got to use a process. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause just for a second, and I want you to pick one thing that is causing your business to have a bottleneck right now. I'm going to use an example. Let's say that you're spending way too much time delivering material. So the very first thing that we have to determine is we have to determine and pick one problem, not two problems, not five problems, one problem that we want to solve, okay, and get a result for it. The next thing that we do, so now we're just going to use the example of, you are having to do way too much time into delivering material. Now we're going to look at the solution. Okay, we've picked the problem, now we've got to look at the solution. So if we look at, now thinking about a solution, one of the biggest things that we've got to do is we've got to look at the solution. We've got to say, hey, if it's delivering material, there's a couple of ways that I could actually delegate this and get this off my plate. I could go to a supplier. Maybe the supplier can deliver more material. Maybe it's I got to hire somebody or delegate it to one of my team members. Maybe it's a helper that you've got. But let's pick, okay? It's going to be maybe both, okay? But we now have come up with a solution. Now that we've come up with a solution, we can lay out the plan. So let's take a look at the supplier. Is it just, two or three different things that we got to do, okay, to go to the supplier and say, hey, let's plan this out so that we can actually get you to deliver more of the material. But again, if you didn't pick what was the problem, didn't pick the solution, you wouldn't have been able to start laying out a plan. Now, laying out a plan with the supplier, you're probably best to involve the supplier to see, what they have as far as logistics and feeding this plan. The same thing would apply to, picking an employee or employees to get them to start picking up and delivering material more, okay? But now that we've determined, that we got these two solutions, now we can start laying out the plan, okay? Now, more specifically, we've got to get really clear on what the next 3 to 5 action steps are. So when you get clear on what the next 3 to 5 action steps are, it's really simple. Let's say we're picking the supplier. Well, now that we know that we've got a plan to actually engage with them, they're going to help us create the plan. We're going to help them create the plan. We're going to do it together. Now we've got to think about what are some of the first steps. It could be as simple as on the next order of material, we're going to send off the material list to the supplier, and they're going to determine exactly what things can they actually deliver. Okay, so we got clarity of what the simple action steps are. Same thing with delegating. Now that we've picked the people, or maybe it's a person that you're going to delegate this to, sit down with them and lay out what are the steps on a weekly, recurring basis, okay? So when we lay out and pick the problem, we determine what the solution is, we lay out a plan, we work together on laying out that plan, we then have, actionable steps that we can take, we're gonna get results, okay? So start with one thing at a time, one problem at a time, okay? And when we release these bottlenecks, what's gonna happen is, it's going to increase our efficiency. It's going to free us up a lot more time to actually work on other bottlenecks. But again, you try to solve all the problems that you've got, all these bottlenecks at once, you're actually not going to be making any progress. You're actually going to be going backwards. So let's get the results that we need in our contracting business by removing one bottleneck at a time. I'm Andrew Houston from Contractors. This is another trading tip, and I'll see you on the flip.
Hey Rockstar, if this video resonated with you at all and you want a proven plan and pathway to take your contracting business to the next level with me and my team of experts, click the link below and apply for a free 50-minute pathway to profits call.